Hey guys, what's happening? Welcome back to the FordTechMakuloco channel. Today we're going to show you how to change the rear differential fluid on a 2020 and newer Ford Escape. So 2020 Ford Escapes are the next generation Ford Escape. You can see it's much nicer design inside and out. And I'm pleasantly surprised to see the powertrain and the drivetrain on here is much more serviceable, okay, for the technician. Much more simplistic. It just looks much nicer overall compared to the 2013 through 2019s, which were an absolute nightmare. So right here is the rear differential, so the rear drive shaft coming into the rear differential right here, and it provides power out through the half shafts to the rear wheels when commanded by the all-wheel drive module. So since this differential is not always spinning back here, I recommend changing fluid in here every 60,000 miles. Now the procedure is very, very simple. I'll show you here in a second. So if you wanted to push it, you wanted to really maintain it, you can push it to every 30,000 miles. It only requires 1 quart of fluid, okay? So the nice part about this, like on the 2013 through 2019 Escapes, you only had a fill plug on. It was right against the frame here, and you had to kind of get in here and suck up the fluid and fill it back up through there. And it was kind of a pain, a little cumbersome. What's nice is that the 2020 and newer vehicles, there's a fill and a drain plug. So it makes it real simple to change the fluid on here. The most important part, I guess you could say, of this whole job is that you want to use the correct fluid. It's a very specific fluid made just for this differential from Ford, and I'll link to it down below. The spec calls for just under a quart of fluid in here, so we should only need 1 quart, and that's a good thing because I think this fluid's like 60 bucks retail for 1 quart. Crazy, right? But at least it only takes 1 quart. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, you guys ready for this? It's gonna be real simple. So what you wanna have is a 3/8 ratchet on hand for both of these drain plugs. Real simple. You probably have one in your garage. And we're just simply gonna line it up on here, and we're gonna break torque on the fill plug on here so that it can vent the differential. So we're just gonna go ahead and loosen that, put it off to the side. Once you get it, loose a little bit, you should be able to pull it out the rest of the way by hand. All right, there we go. Now this vehicle right here, for reference, I know I'm gonna get the question asked. This vehicle has 21,000 miles on it. Customer wanted it done, so we're gonna take care of it today and do it right, okay? You can see it's filled right to the threads there from the factory, and we're just gonna go ahead and pull the drain plug. Whew. So you can see the fluid here, it's pretty dirty already, and the reason why is there's a lot of break-in. So if you're really concerned about it and you want to change the fluid in there, I would say the first 30,000 miles, change it. Then at 60, change it again. And then from that point on, every 60,000 miles. Okay, just so you can get the initial break-in fluid out of there and all the material. I'll show you. Hopefully you'll be able to see it on here. You can see the magnet has quite a bit on it. This magnet is flush or sub-flush on here. So you can see after a while it gets caked up on here and really can't grab any more shavings from the differential as it breaks in. Okay, this is all normal break-in. You see it? I know it's all black, but you get the point. This magnet that's built into this one is sub-flush. Yeah, so that's a lot on there. So at this point, we're just gonna let it drain out a little bit. Just give us some time. Get a good exchange on there. Real quick, while the differential finishes draining out, let's talk about the fill and drain plug. Okay, they are different. You can see the drain plug right here has a magnet on it, but otherwise, threads, everything is the same, okay? So you want to make sure you install the drain plug with the magnet back into the drain port and the fill plug back into the fill port, okay? So technically Ford wants you to replace these anytime you're in here. And the reason being is they want the correct sealant on the threads. You can see a new plug from Ford comes with the appropriate sealant on, then the correct amount. Comes with a magnet, but otherwise it's exactly the same. So you don't necessarily have to change the drain plug. You just need to put the correct sealant on the threads going back in, which I'll show you here today. So what I'm going to do, because I bought the new one to show you guys, is I'm going to use the new one for the drain plug with the magnet in it, and I'm going to use the old one with the magnet in it for the fill plug, okay? So he has magnets at both points on here. Okay, at this point it's been draining for probably 10-15 minutes. That's plenty, okay? What we're gonna do is we're gonna put the drain plug back in, okay? So we're just gonna clean the hole real quick in case any of that slop is collected on the threads. Get that out of there. Okay, it's good to go. And our new plug already has sealant on it. So we're gonna go ahead and put that in. Now the important part about this is you do not want to cross thread this stuff, okay? You want to make sure that you put it in by hand, a couple of threads like that. I know I'm threading it correctly. Now the torque spec on this lower one is 30 foot-pounds. In reality, what you can do is just use a 3/8 ratchet like this. Choke up on it closer to the ratcheting point on here, the shaft on here, and simply tighten it by hand, okay? All right, filling it back up, we're simply gonna fill it through the fill port here until the fluid starts coming out, and then we're gonna let it sit and level out to the bottom of the threads on here, okay? Again, you wanna make sure you use the correct fluid. I'll link to it down below. 1 quart should do you. And the best way to do it, and the way I even do it, is I use a regular hand pump like this, and I'll link to this down below too, so you guys can simply put it on your bottle, put it up in here, and pump away. And fill it back up. Nice and simple. All right, here we go. So I get it in there far enough, and start pumping. This fluid's actually pretty thin compared to, other rear axle fluids, so it pumps pretty fast. It's not so bad. So it should take, I believe, 3/4 of the bottle, but 1 quart should be safe. Now, I believe the reason why this fluid is so expensive is because of the special friction modifiers in it for the clutch that's inside of here, and also I'm sure the low volume of fluid that it's actually being made. So all sorts of factors, I'm sure, but it's expensive stuff. But every 30-60,000 miles, no big deal. So you see right here, looks like there's fluid starting to come out of there. That's just splashback. Let me zoom you guys in a little bit. Get you in. Get you up. There we go. There we go. So you might start seeing fluid actually, come out of here like this, okay? It's not full. You want it to actually stream out of here. That's when you know it's full to the threads. And at that point, with the vehicle level, you let it simply level off. See, we're starting to get a stream coming out of there. We're about almost the whole bottle right now. So in order to make sure that you really are full to the threads, you want to get a stream like that. It's pretty obvious at this point that we're filled, and it continues to stream out of there. At this point, just let it level out. Get your stuff together, start cleaning up, whatever you got to do, and let it level out. Once you start seeing a thin stream or inconsistent drip like this, you're good to go. You're leveled out. We're going to take our fill plug and we are going to use some of the permatex thread sealant on there. I'll link to this again down below. And you just want to put a thin stream around the threads, the first 3 threads, I would say. Just like that, all the way around, and it'll work into the threads. Get up in here, again, thread it by hand, so you don't cross thread and crack the case. That'd be really bad. I can only imagine what these RDUs back here cost. And again, we're gonna use a 3/8 ratchet, and we're gonna choke up on it so we lose our leverage. Okay, so we're gonna get it snug at first. Remember, these are just fill and drain plugs. That's all they are. They don't do anything else. You don't need to over tighten them. You don't want to over tighten them. So this point's pretty tight, and we're just gonna, yep, there it is, good to go, okay? At this point, we can go ahead and wipe it off. No excess off of there. A little brake clean, and it'll make it nice and clean in the end here. Nice professional job that way. All right. So quickly, as a post check here, let's bring it back. We have our drain plug tightened with thread sealant. We have it filled to the bottom of the threads, so it's coming out, okay? And we have our fill plug tightened with thread sealant on it. And at this point, we are good to go. But that's all for now. I just wanted to share that with you guys, and I'll see you next time.